Imagine a Britain where tinsel ruled supreme, where the nation paused to watch a snowman glide across the screen, and a Rubik's cube could cause absolute hysteria among children. A world where turkey cost a tenner, and 4 television channels shaped the rhythm of the holidays. At first glance, it seems idyllic, simple, and joyful. But peel back the glittering surface, and you find a decade of contrasts. Families making magic with modest means, a society reshaped by Thatcherism, and childhoods forged in resourcefulness and wonder. This is Christmas in 1980s Britain. The 1980s were a peculiar time. Britain was in flux, politically, economically, culturally. Margaret Thatcher's policies were transforming cities, industries, and lives. Yet within homes, amid economic uncertainty, families conjured a holiday that seemed larger than life, often on shoestring budgets. Children couldn't escape the carefully orchestrated wonder of the toy industry. Saturday morning cartoons were more than entertainment. They were cleverly disguised marketing campaigns. He-Man, Transformers, My Little Pony, each character, each story designed to create longing, anticipation, and ultimately, sales. The Rubik's Cube, released in Britain in 1980, became the perfect storm, affordable, captivating, and universal. If you love stepping back into history and seeing how ordinary lives created extraordinary moments, hit the like button and let's dive deeper. By the mid-1980s, toys had evolved from simple playthings to emotional companions. Cabbage Patch Kids arrived in 1983, complete with birth certificates and names, creating a personal connection parents hadn't felt before. Transformers and Teddy Ruxpin followed, each revolutionizing Christmas wish lists and family budgets. And then came the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1986, forever changing holiday expectations. But for most, the reality was far less glamorous. Many families couldn't afford headline items, relying on knockoffs, second-hand treasures, and a single standout gift surrounded by modest treats. Yet, through ingenuity and careful budgeting, parents created moments of joy that endure in memory decades later. Stick around, because we're about to uncover what families actually ate, watched, and sang along to during the most iconic Christmases of the 80s. In the early 80s, toys weren't available year-round. They waited for Christmas. Hasbro, Mattel, and Kenner invested millions in shows designed to mesmerize children into action figure mania. He-Man's heroic battles, Optimus Prime's courage, and My Little Pony's gentle friendships weren't just cartoons. They were invitations into worlds families could only afford in miniature. The Rubik's Cube, inexpensive yet ingenious, became the ultimate stocking filler. By 1983, Cabbage Patch Kids were a craze. Parents parted with $15-20, significant money when the average weekly wage hovered around $100. Transformers arrived in 1984 with Optimus Prime priced at $30, a major investment for most. Teddy Ruxpin's animatronic magic in 1985 and 1986 cost $40, while the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1986 demanded $150, representing a major leap in how Christmas gifts were envisioned. Despite the glamour of these toys, most families relied on ingenuity. Pound stretcher, He-Man knockoffs, jumble sale treasures, and a single carefully chosen gift surrounded by modest treats. Christmas magic, it seemed, was less about quantity and more about the experience. Turkey had finally become the nation's festive bird. By the 1980s, a typical frozen bird cost $12 to $15. Families added trimmings, roast potatoes, Brussels sprouts, pigs in blankets, cranberry sauce, and stuffing. Innovations came in starters and desserts. Prawn cocktail was exotic, smoked salmon was becoming accessible, and Violeta ice cream with its wafer-thin layers was the pinnacle of festive sophistication. Drinks reflected aspirations. Too, Baby Cham, Advocaat snowballs, and classic Bucks Fizz found their place on tables. Yet behind these indulgences, the truth was stark. Many families couldn't afford lavish meals. Television's depiction of aspirational Christmases created divides, yet ingenuity prevailed. Homemade decorations, shared resources, and community connections transformed limitations into celebrations. Decorations in 1980s homes were chaotic and spectacular. Lametta tinsel, impossibly thin strands of foil, covered every surface. Trees were real for most, artificial for some, costing $5 to $10 from local grocers. The more eclectic the ornaments, homemade, store-bought, or family heirlooms, the better. Chunky Puig bulbs glowed warmly, foil snowflakes dangled from ceilings, and paper chains wove through rooms, a testament to the creativity of children and parents alike. Christmas cards became decorative features, and spray snow adorned windows, completing the transformation. The result was organized. Chaos. Everywhere sparkled, every surface celebrated, and homes felt alive with festivity. Television defined the 80s Christmas. 4 channels, BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, and, after 1982, Channel 4, shaped collective experiences. The Snowman premiered on Boxing Day 1982 and quickly became a national ritual. Families sat mesmerized as the haunting score of Walking in the Air filled living rooms. The Queen's speech, broadcast at 3 p.m., punctuated the day, signaling a pause for reflection amid festivities. Christmas films became communal events. The 1984 ITV premiere of Raiders of the Lost Ark, the 1987 BBC premiere of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and 1989's Crocodile Dundee were moments of shared excitement. Scarcity made each broadcast a significant experience, creating bonds and memories that streaming today struggles to replicate. Music defined the cultural mood. St. Winifred's School Choir beat John Lennon's Happy Xmas, War is Over, in 1980, a reflection of British unpredictability. Band-Aids, Do They Know It's Christmas? In 1984 became a cultural earthquake, selling over 3 million copies. Wham's Last Christmas, Shakin' Stevens' Merry Christmas, Everyone and the Pogues' Fairy Tale of New York illustrated the variety and contradictions of 80s Christmas music. Novelty versus tradition, sentimentality versus cynicism, joy versus melancholy. Mini CTA. If you're loving this journey back, take a moment to comment with your favorite 1980s Christmas memory. It could be a song, a toy, or even a decoration. The early 80s recession hit hard. Unemployment exceeded 3 million by 1983. Strikes in 1984-85 devastated communities. Thatcherism created winners and losers, and Christmas amplified the divide. Yet families displayed remarkable resourcefulness. Savings clubs, layaway plans, shared decorations, and gifts crafted with care. Consumerism began to rise, but the 1980s still allowed families to create magical moments with modest budgets. Christmas in 1980s Britain was messy, glittering, chaotic, and profoundly human. Less really was more. Tinsel clung to everything. Toys inspired wonder, and television created shared cultural experiences. Families endured economic challenges, yet conjured joy with creativity, humor, and love. That decade taught a simple truth. The magic of Christmas isn't in lavish spending. It's in presence, ingenuity, and shared moments that linger in memory. If you enjoyed this journey through 1980s Christmas Britain, hit subscribe for more deep dives into the decades that shaped our lives. Explore, reminisce, and experience the past like never before.